The day was just beginning to dawn, but our adrenaline was already through the roof. In recent weeks, complaints from farmers had multiplied so much that we had lost patience. Crops were ruined, fences uprooted, irrigation systems in shambles. These aggressive and rapidly multiplying feral pigs were no longer just a nuisance, but a real threat. Each female gives birth twice a year, and each litter can produce 10 to 12 piglets. This means that if we don't intervene, we may soon see pigs not only in the forest, but even in the city center. That's why today, as a team, we armed ourselves with our guns, prepared our dogs, and set out, not just to hunt, but to protect our environment and defend the labor of the villagers. Our first stop was the dense forest behind a farm belonging to Edric's family. As soon as we entered the area, dogs started barking, which meant we were on the trail. We spread out in silence, Edric going around to the right while I took the left bank. The crunching through the trees grew louder. The sound of dogs suddenly grew louder, and then, there it was. The first pig, its black body burst out of the trees and ran straight towards us. I held my breath, took aim, and fired the first shot. He staggered slightly, but didn't stop. The second shot was a little more effective, but with the third bullet, he finally went down. We were still at the beginning of the hunt, but even this moment made my heart flutter. The heat of the hunt, the excitement, the adrenaline of that moment cannot be described. It must be experienced. Then we moved to the other side without lingering too long. This time, we settled on a higher observation tower. The view was incredible. With a rustle coming from the depths of the forest, a herd of pigs appeared, moving like a black wave. There were more than 20 of them, each one bigger and more aggressive than the next. Wasting no time, we opened fire. As bullet after bullet came out of the barrel, the herd panicked for a moment, but they were moving so fast that our accuracy was low. Nevertheless, we knocked down at least 3 of them at that moment. One of them was almost close to us. At the last moment, I dropped to the ground, took aim, and shot him in the center of the forehead. The sounds coming from the forest, the earth trembling, the dogs barking. It was like we were in a war zone. Later in the day, we moved to a different forest area. This area was full of dense undergrowth and narrow passages, an ideal place for the pigs to hide. But our experienced dogs know their job. A few minutes later, a pig came out of the bushes. It was coming right at me. Without thinking, I got down on the ground, raised my rifle, and pulled the trigger. It fell to the ground with a short groan, but other members of the herd broke away and ran into the forest. The chase began. After a tiring walk, we reached a clearing on the hill. The dogs started barking again, and another pig appeared. This time, we were more prepared. Edric took aim, I held my breath, and we fired at the same time. 2 bullets hit its body, one after the other. After a short struggle, he collapsed. At the end of every hunt, we feel a sense of pride and deep respect. These animals may be dangerous, but they are also part of nature. So we always approach them with a sense of balance. Towards evening, as we were coming down the hill, we noticed movement again as we crossed the road. On the other side of the road, a large pig ran out into the clearing. I jumped out of the vehicle, shouldered my rifle, and fired at it from about 150 meters away. The bullet lodged in its body. It jumped into the air and fell on its back. It's not easy to get such a clean shot from this distance. As the sun retreated behind the mountains, another herd appeared. The forest was now in full swing. It looked like we wouldn't sleep well tonight either, but we had no intention of giving up. We made one last push into the forest, and this time we took down 3 pigs in quick succession. One came out on the right, and Edric shot it. The third, running wildly in front of the dogs, fell in front of us, and of course we didn't miss him. It was getting dark. We were walking back, tired but satisfied, when suddenly Edric stopped. "Did you hear that?" he said. We listened. There was a rustling behind the bushes. I aimed my rifle, and a moment later a huge body appeared. The last shot, the last bullet. With the sound echoing in the darkness of the night, the hunt was over. This was not just a hunt. This was a team effort, a labor-intensive struggle in touch with nature. And I have to say this, if you like this kind of videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to support. More challenging hunts, more pigs, more action awaits us. Together, we are here to protect nature and balance with wildlife. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning. But it didn't end there. In fact, the real story began now. The team continued on our way without resting because the news from the villagers in the area indicated that the situation was much more serious. There were frequent sightings of a large herd, especially around the stream bed on the other side of the mountain. Moreover, these pigs had started attacking not only crops, but also small cattle. There was talk of aggressive individuals approaching the barns at night and tearing the villagers' livestock to pieces. So we set off to that area, because it was no longer just a hunt, it was a fight. The numbers of these animals were now out of control, and if left unaddressed, would lead to a major disaster. In the afternoon, as the sun reached its zenith, we approached the stream bed. The soil was slippery, the air damp, and the bushes rustled around us with every step. There are many advantages for pigs in this kind of difficult terrain. It is not easy to follow lost tracks, but we have spent years doing it. The dogs were quiet for a while, but then suddenly they started barking like crazy. At that moment, we realized that the pack was very close to us. We immediately spread out around the perimeter, me to the left, Edric to the right, the rest of the guys descending from above. The plan was clear, to close the area and block the exit routes. Moments later, a huge pig emerged from the bushes. I'll never forget the moment we locked eyes. Its eyes were shining, like a creature that knew what it was doing, that was using its intelligence. It hesitated between attacking and running away, but in the end, it acted on reflex and attacked. In a split second, I crouched down, took aim, and fired a bullet. It hit him in the chest, but didn't stop. Edric fired the second shot. The pig skidded to the ground, but then, not one, not two, but 5 pigs came out of the bushes. We had a real panic, but we recovered quickly. The rifles went off one after the other. The bullets went one after the other. Suddenly, the forest became a war zone. In the confusion, we managed to take down 3 more, but one of them managed to escape. The dogs ran after him, and we ran after him. The hours passed as we chased the escaped boar, and as darkness fell, we were still on his trail. The terrain became very steep, cliffs on one side, dense scrub on the other. We were tired, but the determination in us was undimmed. Finally, the dogs called again. As we crossed a path down the hill, we came across the pig's tracks. The footprints were fresh and well sunk in the mud. It was very close. Just then, Edric stopped and raised his hand. "Silence," he said. A slight rustling to our left alerted us all. I raised my rifle, focused on the target, and then, suddenly the pig burst out of the bush and ran at us. This time it was bigger, more ferocious. The first bullet hit him in the abdomen, but it only slowed him down. My friend sent the second bullet. This time it hit him in the shoulder. The third bullet came from me and hit him right in the head, knocking him out. We all took a deep breath, coming face to face with such a dangerous creature. And surviving is not left to chance. It takes experience, reflexes, and composure. By now the sun had set, and it was getting dark, so we lit our campfire. It was quiet, but the sense of accomplishment in us overcame fatigue. The result we achieved was impressive. We hunted a total of 18 pigs that day, each in a different place, in a different scenario, and each one sharpened us even more. This was no ordinary day. This was a real battle with nature. We were sitting around the camp, resting and watching the recordings of the day. The videos were fantastic. Every moment, every hit, every chase was clearly captured on camera. If you like this kind of footage and want to experience the thrill of the hunt with us in nature, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. New videos, bigger herds, longer and more dangerous hunts are on the way. We are here, and we want to see you with us. Your support is very important to us. This is not just a channel, it's a way of life. A life in touch with nature, a life of struggle, a life full of action every second. When night fell, we were tired, but the passion for hunting was still alive in us. Without a moment's hesitation, we said, "Go ahead," because we knew that night is when the pigs are most active. The big males that hide during the day, the females that protect their young, and the cunning individuals that try to stay away from the sound of hunters all day long come out at night. We put on the night vision binoculars, check the flashlights, double-check the weapons. Mistakes are unforgivable during these hours. It's darker, quieter, and much more dangerous in the forest. But we are used to it. Over the years, we have become a team that knows how to adapt to the rules of nature, no matter how dangerous they are. There was no moon that night, only stars. We left the road and went off the trail. The swampy area in front of us was right in the center of the pig activity we had heard about earlier. It was hard to walk without sinking into the mud, even harder to keep quiet. But our dogs were on the trail. They were our guides. As we were walking in silence, we suddenly heard a grunt from the front, followed by the sound of bushes, and our adrenaline peaked. We all got into position, our eyes on the binoculars. When I looked through the night vision, I saw 3 large pigs standing side by side, right in front of me. It was as if they sensed our presence, but couldn't quite understand what was happening. I held my breath, took aim, and pulled the trigger. The first bullet hit the target. The other 2 tried to run away, but my fellow hunters behind me intervened immediately. All 3 were knocked down. The silence of the night was broken by the sound of 3 bullets, but it didn't end there. It was as if the other pigs had been warned by the gunfire. The rustling to our left and right increased. This time, many individuals were moving at the same time. Our dogs started barking like crazy. We all settled in a circle, back to back, building a fortress in the middle of the forest. This time, the attack was direct. The first pig jumped out of the bush and ran straight at my friend. He fought it off with his rifle, but the pig that had fallen to the ground immediately regrouped. I bent down and shot him in the shoulder, and he stopped moving. Then a sow came out of the thick trees and tried to escape. I saw her body moving in the light, took quick aim, fired, and heard the sound of her heavy body falling in the darkness. Those moments were indescribable. The forest, the darkness, the panicked running of the pigs, the barking of the dogs, and the sound of rifles. It was all together. We had cornered a large herd of more than 20 pigs in total. We neutralized 8 of them there, some of them ran away, but the dogs kept after them. This pursuit, which lasted until late into the night, strained us both physically and mentally, but every bullet, every step was worth the effort. Deep in the forest, we sat on the edge of a rock for a while. We watched the recordings in silence. There's nothing like reliving those moments. The second you press the trigger, the first move of the pig, the escape, the struggle, the silence, and then the movement again. Every scene was coming alive again in the video. And I said to myself, this is why we do this. It's not just a hunt. This is a record, a document, a story of struggle. If you're watching this footage and you love this life, join us, subscribe, comment, give a voice. Because we write these stories together, this channel is stronger and more meaningful with you.